Hi, Lizzie.
Hi, Lizzie.
Hi.
Lizzie, we're so excited to have you on. I feel like we've been trying to coordinate this for months, and you're really busy.
Well, I know you guys have asked me to come on for a while, and I just kind of pushed you guys off because I'm like, no, can I do it? Like, you know how a lot of people are too. When you used to be on the show and you come out and talk, they're like, oh, she's so desperate, she's thirsty, these things. And I'm the farthest thing from any of that, honestly. Like, I don't care if I'm in the limelight at all, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I hate when people do that, actually, because we just did an interview with Jacqueline too. And like, you know, New Jersey's a lot more intense though. Actually, I don't know anymore if New Jersey's intense because Orange County is super intense right now. But like, you know, those were some of the things that, you know, people were saying. And it's like, we're reaching out to you guys, you know, we're saying, hey, we want to hear from you. And it's always, I know sometimes housewives even say it, but then the second they're off the show, they'll do an interview. And it's because people are reaching out to them. So let's make it clear that we've been reaching out. Yes, exactly. So you were on season 9 and then season 10. What have you been up to since leaving the show?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's been a long time. So it's been, I want to say like 10 years more than that since I was hired on. So I was still doing Sun Kitten for a couple of years after the show, after I left the show. And then I did a deal with QVC with Emily, and then COVID happened, and the manufacturing, it was such a headache. But I said, you know what? I want to focus on my kids. My kids were at home doing the homeschool thing. I said, this is probably a good time to kind of bow out. And I wanted to be more present with my kids. And running a company is very tedious. It's very time consuming. And I just didn't want to miss their life. And I had missed a lot of it. I felt just, even in the 2 years that I filmed the show, and I just, like, my kids are my life. Everyone knows that. They're my whole world. And I just wanted to be there for them. So I stopped doing that. And then I just kind of was mom for a while. And then I get restless because I'm an entrepreneur spirit. I like to work. I like to do things. So I studied at IIN, Institute of Integrative Nutrition, National Academy of Sports Medicine, and I'm a health coach now, and I have a certified personal training license, a nutrition license, and all kinds of good stuff. And I'm writing a health course, and I have a podcast, and wellness and relationships. And so I'm enjoying life right now. Life is good.
What's your podcast called?
It's called the Lindy and Lizzie podcast, and I do it with a girlfriend of mine, and we talk about all things health, wellness, relationships, toxic relationships, faith, all those good things.
What if someone wanted to like have you be their health coach? Like, how would they get in touch with you?
They could send me a DM. I'm writing a health course right now, so I haven't been taking clients, but I'm going to be taking them soon, and we'll have it's just going to be like a whole blueprint on overall wellness, metabolic health, and biohacking, and how to biohack your health and for longevity. And
I feel like Shannon would love that.
Who?
Shannon.
Oh, Shannon.
Shannon. Yeah, she would like it because she's into all that stuff. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. How are your boys? How old are they now?
Oh my gosh, they're so good. They are 12 and 14. They're huge. Preston's like 6 feet tall.
That's crazy.
They're just, they're boys. They keep me, laughing, and they give me a run for my money, and they're a good time.
I didn't realize how young they were when you came on the show.
They were 2 and 3. They were both in diapers.
Wow. So how did that work? You have such small children, and you're filming the show, and I feel like it takes a lot from you, a lot of time, and you were just like saying that. So where did you have help? Was your husband at the time helping?
Yeah, well, I did have help during the show. We had I had a gal, Bailey, and the boys loved her. They call her TT. She was with me, and she helped a lot because we went on some big trips when I was on the show. We were in Bali and Indonesia. We were in Tahiti, and so I had to have help. And Christian works full time, but he's a great dad, and but it takes you away from your kids a lot. It was really hard. You saw it on the show, like Preston, who was a little bit older, he was 3. He knew, when he saw the cameras, that mommy was going to be leaving or she was going to be busy, and my going to be on them, and children feel that. So yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle. That was hard. And I look back at those, those years are so precious, right? And I'm like, I missed things because you're stressed out, and you're not even if you're there, you're not even fully present because you're just stressed out. It was 2 stressful years.
Yeah. And you were on when the whole Vicky Brooks thing happened. Our listeners asked, did you think Vicky was scammed, or was she in on the scam?
I think she was scammed. I honestly do. Well, I mean, you guys know, you've seen women who are in abusive relationships with toxic partners, and you'll believe anything when your heart's in love. And I think at the time, I think she would have done anything to keep that relationship going. She loved that man, and he was a con artist. I mean, he was a horrible person. He used and abused her for so much stuff. And like, I know Vicky. Vicky is like, I love Vicky. She's one of like the women from the show that I just really like as a human being. And I think she's a good person. She is a Christian. She's a good girl. And I just, it's hard to say, when someone's in a toxic relationship, it's really hard to, judge them. It's like Shannon right now. Like, everyone wants to say, oh, she has this drinking problem and all this stuff, but no one's talking about this relationship she had with this man. It clearly was a toxic, abusive relationship. And you don't have to be hit to have a psychologically, abusive relationship going on. And clearly, it wasn't a healthy relationship. I'd be looking more into that than the whole drinking situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
100% right. And yeah, I do think that Vicky just really loved the man. So I agree completely with you. You don't think anyone's going to be that crazy that they would lie about that. So, right. And she's with him. She loves him. So just so crazy. So I didn't know this, but our listeners said, do you still speak to Bronwyn? And if so, how is she doing? I had no idea you had a relationship with her.
I've never had a relationship with Bronwyn. That's why. Who said that? I've never even seen her in person.
I was like, I can't even see these two hanging out. It's like, I just don't feel that vibe. So that is so funny. Yeah. When I saw that,
you know where it came from? It came from this, because there was an issue that came out, and it was on the show, because she had sent me a DM when she was brand new on the show. And she's like, hey, I'm the new housewife. Do you have any tips for the new girl? And I guess she did the same to Gretchen. And then she went on the show, and I don't know if she told Tamra or who she told. She was like, oh, Lizzie and Gretchen are reaching out to me. And then they're it was a part of a story.
Oh my gosh.
And said, that's not true. That's not what happened. We didn't reach out to her. I don't even know her.
Wow. No wonder. I remember that. Oh my gosh. She the whole thing. He reached out to you. That's memorial.
That's so funny.
No wonder. Because I was like, I don't get this. And now it all makes sense. I have to go back and watch those later seasons.
Yeah. Someone wants to also know, like, what are your real thoughts on Heather?
Heather, I've always liked Heather. I think I do think Heather's a class act. I think Heather adds something to the show that none of the other girls have. And I think she's fun, and I think she's different, and she's so over the top fancy, and no one is like that on the show. And I mean, when I was on the show, I always looked up to Heather, and she was always really good to me, and she always gave me good advice, and I felt like she was a little bit like a big sister to me. But I've always looked up to Heather. I think she's great for the show, and I'm glad that she's back on the show. And she throws the best events. Like, what would they do if they didn't have people doing all the events?
Yeah.
Did she ever reach out to you once you were done with the show?
No, but I mean, that's kind of the nature.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end, I mean, they all kind of reached out. She reached out, was like, oh, what's going on? Checking if I'm okay. And I mean, there might have been, it was just so long ago. Like, I don't even remember.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't even know.
I know, that's so crazy.
Do you believe these friendships are real? Or do you think that, like, once you guys stop filming, you're like, where are they? Are they still talking to you, or how does that work?
Well, I think some of them definitely are real, because I have real friendships from the show. I came on my first year, and Danielle Gregorio was my friend on the show. And she's still like one of my closest friends, but she got cut out.
Yeah.
And then also, the second year I was on, another reason why I was probably part of my demise was Katie Hamilton was on the show, and then she got, but we're still really friends. I went to her wedding a year ago. But like, I know like Gina and Emily, really good friends. Like Gretchen's a really good friend of mine. I think there's some girls that, you're working with, and when the cameras are down, you're like, I don't have to hang out with them anymore.
Yeah.
Really, you build friendships. You spend a lot of time together. So.
Yeah. And you would say Vicky is the closest one with you since leaving that show?
On my cast, yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, my cast, because after they cut out the girls, after Danielle and Katie were there, my first year, it was just me, Vicky, Heather, Shannon, and Tamra.
Yeah.
And then my second year, they added Megan.
Yeah. Okay, so I forgot about this, but you and at the time, he was your husband. You guys have 2 beautiful boys. And then I was like looking back and I was like, I totally forgot. So you filed for divorce I don't know, it took a little bit of time. Can you talk us through that?
God, it was so long ago. All these things are so long ago. It's so funny. I don't know. It was not a nasty divorce. I had a publicist at the time though. And you guys, there was all these crazy stories coming out, and I was like calling Us Weekly and getting mad at them. And they told me, come to find out, my publicist, who I was paying, was selling bad stories about me.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
I would pay him more money to clean up the story.
Oh my gosh.
That is wild.
And it probably happens a lot more. It's just, that was so wild to me. But Christian and I are good friends. We're still good friends. We co-parent great. It was very amicable. Our kids come first no matter what. And all of our egos and everything are put aside because the kids are, it's all about the kids. Everyone needs to grow up and just make it about the kids.
Yeah. What did he think about being on the show?
I think he got a kick out of it. And then also there was a big part of it where he didn't really want to participate, which was also very hard for me on the show because I needed him, I needed like him to participate and want to be there more, but he just, he's like, this drama stuff,
Yeah. I know. I feel like
that's a lot of the guys,
That's how my husband would be. He'd be like, I don't want to do this. So I totally get that. How did you get on the show?
I got a phone call from Scott Dunlop, he's the creator of the show, and somebody knew me from my gym at the time. And he just called me. He was like, what do you think about Housewives? And I'm like, I haven't thought about Housewives. He's like, but would you consider it? And would you get on a Skype call with some of the, casting people? And would you be open to it? I'm like, okay, sure, I will. And the show had already started airing. So they were in hot pursuit. So it was about a week, maybe 2 weeks. And I get a phone call and they're like, we want to bring cameras in your house next week. Let's go.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, it was really fast. And it was just, and at the time it was the beginning of pretty much Instagram. I was so clueless, so naive going in. Like I didn't have anyone that really took me under their wing. Like if you go on the show now, you'd have to be living under a rock to not know how to navigate or what to do. You just get on Instagram. And then you have access to all the hair people and makeup people, people, jumping to help you with everything. It just felt like it was a totally different time back then. Like it was like sink or swim, go.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because, I know the first season, they don't really pay you much. Do you feel like you spent more than you actually earned in that first season?
Oh, 100%.
That's so crazy.
100%. Yeah. It's you definitely, you're not doing it for the money. That's for sure. I would say it's, I had a business at the time too. And that was, they really wanted to showcase my business and everything. And that was another reason I think that was part of my demise on the show, is that I was working and running a company and no one on the show works. Like they have professions. No one works. Like Vicky worked and I worked, and I don't know anyone else that actually worked, and they wanted me to work. So you're working on the show too. So you're filming, it's taking so much time, and then you're trying to run a company, and then you got to like, start fights with everybody. I mean, I should have stopped working on my swimsuit line and just been on the show and just fought with people, because doing both and being a mom, I mean, it's a wonder, I didn't end up in like a mental institution.
Oh my God.
I mean, you're still postpartum.
Really hard to juggle all that and have like little babies too. I mean,
yeah,
you're
postpartum. You have 2 kids back to back. They're babies, that's toddlers. I mean, that's a lot on someone. And then you have a business and you're trying to do this. So
right.
yeah, I mean, that's a lot. Would you be willing to come back on the show if you were asked?
I mean, I never say never, but it's not something I think about. But I don't know, maybe, possibly. But I would be going on as a totally different person. I don't even think anybody really even got a chance to know me. It takes time. Like, the girls that come on, it takes, a couple years before you really get to know someone on the show, before you really can get their essence and everything. And I'm a tougher girl than I was then. And I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of questions about this. So Tamra picked you apart from the moment you joined. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Why do you think it is?
I would say
do anything that she does. I mean, I think that's who she is at her core. And I think that's kind of a little bit of her role on the show, is to give people a hard time. Do I think she takes it a little too far? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, she kind of does that. I mean, she was nice to me when I first met her, but I could feel that it wasn't genuine. And I think I didn't fall for the BS. And I think it pissed her off.
Yeah. Did she act differently towards you when you guys were filming the show than when you weren't filming the show? So when cameras were on?
I mean, I never hung out with her when we weren't filming, really. So, but I've heard that. I mean, I've heard around town that, her friends like her. She's like other people. I don't know though, but I mean, I don't really know a lot about her off the show.
Yeah. Are you currently watching the show now?
Okay, so I have not watched the show in years. Like, I really haven't been paying any attention to it. But like I said before, you'd have to be living under a rock right now if you didn't know what the heck was going on with all this stuff with Shannon and the relationship. And I see Jen Pedrani at the nail salon. We have the same schedule at the nail salon. I see her and I see Ryan. We've ran into each other 3 or 4 times. It's so funny.
We love them.
Yeah, she's so sweet, by the way.
Yeah, she's so sweet.
And I've been supportive of her. And I know that one of her posts, she's defending herself, broke Barbie. And I'm like, yeah, mean girls suck. By the way, I just figured it was Tamra. And then I watched 2 episodes of the show, and I was kind of blown away that the girl that was mean to her was Emily. I've never known Emily to be mean person ever. So I said, wow, mean girls suck. I didn't know I was talking about Emily at the time. I thought it was Tamra was being mean to her, but no, but I have, I watched 2 episodes and then I had to stop watching. I couldn't watch it anymore. It's going back to that dark place again that I just think, I don't know, we should be better than that. As human beings, I felt like it's very hard to watch this whole relationship in everyone's face with this John guy. I don't know why we're trying to make this John guy happen so much. I don't know what the appeal is. It's so cringe and it's so hard to watch. And I just feel like, and it's one of the reasons why I agreed to talk to you guys, is I just feel like everyone should come out and defend Shannon, because it's so wrong. And I don't care who you are. If you were in the same position as Shannon and you had an ex, not a happy ex. If I had to film with Christian, I don't know, it'd probably be okay. But a tumultuous relationship and he's on there with the new girl and they're in your face. I mean, it's usually
and she's talking about their sex life in front of you at the table. It's taunting. It's literally taunting.
It's taunting. It's nuts. And isn't the ex supposed to be the crazy one?
Right.
In all my experience, it's always the crazy ex that, because I've had to experience it a little bit in life, the fake accounts and the weird stuff. And I'm just okay, I know it's your ex. But but this is the new girl who should be happy, and she's shoving it in Shannon's face continuously. It's like, and then blaming Shannon for, I don't know, being a part of it. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you think the ladies, I feel like they're giving Shannon support, you know, when they talk to Shannon, but are you surprised that when Alexis is doing these things, no one's really speaking out and saying, Alexis, you need to chill, and they're like allowing her to do that?
Right. Well, I mean, okay, so I haven't watched the whole season. I only watched a couple episodes.
Yeah.
But yes, why is no one, a couple things. Why is nobody standing up to Alexis? Why are they allowing it unless they're enjoying watching their friends suffer? And why is no one standing up to Tamra? Like, I mean, if you go anywhere online, I mean, every time I get online, I see Tamra got a facelift and she's crying hysterically. And then I don't follow her at all, but because I was a former housewife and I have friends in it, like, you can't miss it. There's like a million things, and all of these posts are like targeting her, mad at her. Why is no one on the show standing up to her? Why is no one standing up to Alexis? Why are we scared of these people? I don't understand. That's what I don't get.
Yeah, so even last season with Heather, in regards to Heather, Tamra came for Heather, which was shocking because Heather has actually been a pretty good friend to Tamra. And I thought coming into this season, I love Heather. And I was like, she's going to be rough with Tamra. And she wasn't at all. And I'm like, it seems like these people are scared of Tamra. And I'm like, why are they so scared of her? I mean, I feel like you and Gretchen are probably the two people who aren't scared of her. And it's like, I need you guys to just come back because someone needs to, you know, expose that and call it out. And yes, you can move forward, but why is everyone so scared of her? Why do you think they're scared of her?
Well, I mean, look, we weren't scared of her. None of us are on the show anymore.
Oh my gosh.
So, but you know, that's the thing. If you're going to bring Tamra on the show and bring her back, there has to be somebody on the show that's going to stand up to her, because number one, it infuriates the fans. You could tell the fans are so angry about it. There has to be someone who is willing to stand up to her, because everybody's scared. Everyone's tiptoeing around. I mean, bring Kelly back, bring Gretchen back. Somebody has to be able to stand up to her and stop being so scared, because that's a show. Let's make a show. That's how you would make a show. Because when we're all scared of her, why are they all scared of her? I'm not really sure, but they are. And it's just, there needs to be somebody to stand up to her, because that's the only way that it's going to be fair. And people are going to actually be themselves instead of like pussyfooting around and like, you know, let's not upset Tamra and all this stuff. Like, I think she sort of likes it too. I think she'd like to be challenged a little more. She likes to roll in the mud.
Yeah.
I don't think she's too happy with everything that's coming out on social media. I feel like she has had her fair share, but you know, like you said, social media is so different now than it was then. And it's like, all I'm seeing for her is so much hate. Do you think this is her karma?
Well, I mean, she brings it on herself. I mean, I haven't seen it all, so it's really hard for me to say. It was just like I was defending Jen, and I didn't even know who I was defending her against. But
Tamra's probably for Jen too, though.
Tamra, though, you know, I mean, she, you know, I think Bravo, they expect her to bring it that way too, and people love to hate her, you know. But I'd like to see somebody stand up to her on the show. I think Gina would probably have the guts to do it out of that cast. I don't know if anybody else would.
I would have loved someone like Heather to do it, but you know,
but they're good friends. They're actually really, I mean, they're pretty good friends. So I don't know if that would actually happen.
I feel like they have a friendship of convenience. Like, we have an understanding. So it's not a real friendship, you know? So, by the way, speaking of Shannon, someone had asked what really happened that night at the beach house when Shannon was screaming, "We would all know the truth." Was Heather overreacting about Shannon and wanting to call an ambulance? What did we not see?
I think when you all see the truth, I think she meant the scene where her and Heather were having the altercation over at Heather's house, because no one had seen it yet. We had only been told the story from what Shannon told us and from what Heather told us. So we hadn't actually seen the footage. And so I think that's what she was like, you'll all see the truth. Wait till you see the video. Wait till you see her actually kick me out of the house and all that stuff. But I think we pretty much saw, I mean, saw everything. I mean, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I know that's what she was referring to, was the scene where she went over to Heather's house and Heather said, you can leave. And they both had different, stories of what went on that day.
No, that makes way more sense. You also had said that the fight with Tamra in Bali was so much uglier than shown on Orange County. Can you elaborate, how ugly it was or what they didn't put on?
She just spewed a lot of things that aren't even okay. It's not even okay to be on like television. It was just really ugly. And she had it started so much stuff amongst all of the women, and it just all came out at once. And it was just I was just like, you suck. Like, it was like a fed up, like, this is crap,
Right.
But they shouldn't have put it on television. It was awful.
Wow. Were the producers upset with her?
I think so. She ran off, and I think she took off her shoe and she tried to hit one of them. I think there was like all kinds of crazy stuff that happened afterwards. I don't know.
Wasn't the next season?
She took her flight home too. She didn't even fly with us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wasn't the next season her finding Jesus, or no? Was that before?
Yes. No, that was season 10. Yeah. Then she got baptized and she found Jesus.
Okay. Okay. So what is something that would surprise us to hear about your experience? Like, any behind the scenes thing happened that,
you're shocked by?
Yeah, that you yourself were shocked by?
Not really. I don't get shocked by too many things. I'd say.
Were you shocked by like how production is? Like how they kind of like, if you guys are having like a boring dinner, do they like try to get you guys to make it more exciting? Like, were you shocked by that, or you knew that going in?
Well, I will say that, it's like, you hear the stories about like on The Bachelor, and they'll like drive you around until you break down and start crying before they take you to the airport after you get sent home.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, they'll film, like the night that we had played Shag, Marry, Kill or whatever, they filmed all night and they were just waiting for something to happen, and like nothing was happening really. So, but they'll wait around until something happens or somebody does something. And, but there was a lot of things that I remember one time we were filming and my kids were outside. I think I lost Preston. Like, he like ran off on his bike, and I was like afraid they were going to show it. And we were all running around the neighborhood. I was like, oh my God, because the cameras and everything, it was just like total chaos. And then he was like around the corner, he was like laughing. I
oh my God.
Or whatever. But I just think people are so some people, it's reality and they're really, showing a lot of their life. And then some people, I would say, are really acting, and they should have Emmys given out for these housewives, right?
Who do you think is acting?
Come on, we all know.
I know.
Yeah. Roxanne wanted you to say it.
No, not getting paid.
Yeah. So you were on for a full season, all of season 9. Then you returned to season 10 as a friend. So it's alleged that Tamra kept telling producers that you didn't want to be there. Another rumor was mid-season they asked you to be a friend of because you weren't saying as much as you should. Can you tell us why you didn't come back full-time on season 10?
Okay, so they hired me on season 10 as a full-time cast member. They paid me as a full-time cast member. And I was like halfway through, production kept saying to me, do you not want to be here? Do you not want to be here? Because there's another castmate that's saying that you don't want to be here. And they never told me who it was saying that, but they kept saying that to me. And I said, of course I want to be here. What do you mean? But I was also having a hard time because, well, Katie was gone. So that was like half of my work that I had done. And then also I was working and my company was taking off. I was designing the swimsuits for Miss USA. That wasn't really covered. And there was a Super Bowl commercial. I mean, there was a lot that was happening in my professional life. They didn't really want to cover that. So it definitely wasn't a boring year. It was a really exciting year for me. But and when I was filming with the girls, I was so, after Katie left, I was so ostracized. Like I just felt, we went to Tahiti and I'm like in this hut all by myself, away from everybody else. They're getting up and filming things and I'm like, okay, why am I not a part of it? They lost my luggage. I'm like, okay, well, I know we all came together. I know you guys have my luggage somewhere. So I just felt like they wanted me to be like, you know, Kelly Ben Simone and Scary Island. They wanted me to like lose my shit and like, but I never did. And I think they really wanted me to break down or show something. And I wasn't in that place. So I don't know. And then, you know, my Christian didn't, you know, he didn't really want to participate. So it wasn't like I could show, you know, a lot of my marriage. So I can understand that part. But there was a lot going on in my life, but it's when you're kind of ostracized from the group, and it's probably one of the reasons why these girls don't stand up to Tamra, because she's got cool with the other ladies. Like it's a weird thing. So I come back and it's like, they're like, oh, we need you to go talk to Tamra. And like, we were in Tahiti once, or Moorea, and I went up to talk to her. She's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to film this scene. I don't want to do it. And she like walked off.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Just, and
like, bye.
Yeah. And in my nature, I don't force myself into friendships or situations or anything. So that's not my MO. So those tactics weren't going to work for me. I just felt like I didn't belong. And so it was just a strange year. It was very hard and it was strange. And I didn't feel like I had a friend, to be really honest. And I don't know.
It sounds like you were iced out.
It felt like it.
Yeah. It sounds like, you know, even her saying that to you, even her saying like, I don't want to film with you. Right. I mean, if no one's filming with you and she's starting that and people are following or don't care to maintain a relationship, I'm just kind of surprised that, you know, the producers or something weren't like to her, you need to film with her, you know, and instead she was able to do that.
No, I don't know. Something was planted in a lot of them. And we were at Shannon's house. Like when I got demoted, we were at Shannon's house and we were filming, and Tamra and I got in some kind of like a little, like, I don't know, little tiff at the table. And she said, I don't remember exactly what she said. I said, I'm not going to do what we did last year where you make up things and then you blame it on producers and all that stuff. And I got in trouble for that. And she was like, Lizzie, in the garage now. And I got to after that. I think they were just waiting for me to do something a little bit wrong, because I was, you know, like Switzerland hanging out with the girls at this point. So it was just, it didn't go well. And I'm not somebody that's going to be kissing ass. So I didn't fit in.
Well, we see her manipulate the ladies. So it wouldn't be that shocking if she was like telling producers another story or telling them stuff about you or complaining about you, which, you know, then it's in their ear and it's like, okay, is this making sense? I mean, when you got demoted, I feel like I would have been like, I don't even want to film anymore.
Yeah, I didn't. But then, you know, I talked to, you know, one of the producers. He's like, yeah, come back. We want you to be there. But I would come film and it was weird. It was like, they didn't want to film me. They like wanted to purposely like cut me out and do all this stuff. And it just felt so odd.
Yeah.
I don't know what was said about me. I don't know what happened really. It was very strange. And it felt like I was in some like weird psychological torture.
Yeah. Did you think after that though, you were probably like, I'm not coming back?
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't think it was, I wasn't even thinking like that.
Wow.
And it's because you're self-aware and you know what's happening. It's just really awkward.
Yeah.
Really awkward. I mean, I think they also were, let's see how desperate she can be. Like if I came out and I was like acting obnoxious or whatever, you'd be able to see how desperate it was for me to be on that show. And I'm just not that desperate to be on the show. So,
yeah.
And you could see, they were like, well, just come film, give it your all. I'm like, okay, I know what that means. But
what did you think when you found out Tamra got fired?
I don't know. I mean, I guess there's like reports of like me and Gretchen like saying, so I don't know. I was probably laughing. I don't know.
I love the realness.
I don't, because I honestly, I don't even wish her bad. Like, I don't even think about Tamra. I don't care.
Yeah. Was there anything you regret being on the show? Was there anything you did or just anything about the show? Any regrets?
Yeah, I regret, I'm not really one to have a lot of regrets, number one, but I regret on the reunion, like when she was talking about my children and like whatever, I should have just slapped back at her. I should have, but God put a muzzle on me and was like, Lizzie, this is your character. You're not, it's not worth it. And, there's times where I'm like, yeah, I should have really but I don't know. My biggest, I never wish bad on anyone, but I do, the worst that I will wish is that they meet themselves in somebody else.
Oh, that's a good one.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
I hope one day that she sees herself in somebody else and she sees how it looks and feels on the other side.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting because right now Vicki came out and made a comment about her kid, and she has lost it. She had said, Vicki, you can take the show. I don't want it anymore. How dare you talk about my kid? And, she's made comments about kids before. So I find that to be interesting.
Yeah. You can't attack everybody. And then when something's said about you, like freak out and have a meltdown. Like, it's just, if you're going to dish it, you got to take it. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Vicki and her, they were very close. And Vicki has, it's like a very personal, close friend, and there's a friendship breakup, and Vicki has her reasons, and Vicki probably knows her better than anyone else. So
yeah, that's true.
It's sad. When you told Megan King at Heather's luncheon in season 10 to stop pestering Vicki on the Brooke stuff as she was pulling out in the Jesus name, how did you feel or react when you learned the truth?
Well, I think I was shocked. We were all shocked. My mom's had cancer. She's a cancer survivor. It's just really nothing to joke about or, create fake stories about. People die from this. It's a very, very serious thing. But, I also feel like Vicki was struggling in that relationship. I have a lot of friends who have endured like really bad toxic relationships and manipulative men. And the women can do it too. So it's on both sides. I'm not just putting it on men, but it really does a number to who you are. It breaks down your self-esteem. It breaks you down as a person. You don't see things like you normally would. Yeah. You don't see things clearly. And she loved that man. She really, really did. She defended him till the end. It's like, Alexis defends this John guy, it's like, you don't really know anybody until I think 2 years.
Yeah.
I know. I always say, don't get married until you're dating 2 years.
Right. It takes time. Everybody is gaga in the first 9 months. Oh, gaga, I love him. It's amazing, blah, blah, blah. And you got to have real life,
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you watch any other Real Housewives?
I don't even watch TV. You don't? I watch like YouTube, and I go to the movies. I like movies, but I'm like, I don't really watch TV at all. Sometimes I'll watch like a show on Netflix, but my kids really kind of like take over the whole television space and everything.
Oh my
They'll
God.
teach you a lot with that stuff.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
don't have to. You just go on Instagram.
I know.
A replay clip of everything. So I feel like I've seen the show.
Yeah, that's so true.
But I used to watch Beverly Hills. I loved New York when Bethany was on. I always loved Teresa.
Teresa.
But I haven't seen it in years. So
Yeah. Well, good for you. Sometimes that stuff is really toxic and you experienced it. So sometimes like it is a lot, so it's good that you're, focusing on you. So our last question for you is, what is next for you?
What is next? Well, I mean, I'm in this health and wellness space, and I'm loving it. I'm a nerd. I just am. I like biology.
Exciting. That's exciting. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And just my kids are number one, and I'm really happy in my personal life. And at some point, I'll talk about it more, but things are really good. I'm really, really happy. Like, I'm at peace, and life is good.
Yeah, amazing. And me and Chantel were shocked, because not shocked, but we were just like, my God, you were so beautiful. Even from when you first came on the show, you look so amazing. So I'm sure people are going to see that when we put the video out, but you look,
they're like, whoa.
Yeah. But we thank you so much for coming on finally and answering all our questions. And we, of course, wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yes,
we're going to listen to your podcast.
Yes, we are.
Are you okay? Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.
Thank you.
Have fun, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.